All right, let's talk about some ideas and ways to go about trading an evaluation account. This account I'm trading is a 50K account with Apex. So during the evaluation, the rules are a little different than a funded account. You don't have to worry about dollar cost averaging. You don't have to worry about consistency rule. You can pass the evaluation in just 1 day. So right now, I'm trading the 50K account. I think the 50K account is the best kind of risk to reward, bang for your buck, and the profit target, the limits and all that. I think they kind of work out the best on the 50K account. There's other size accounts. It really comes down to your personal preference and kind of how you want to trade. But for me, I think trading 10 contracts is plenty. And well, that's what we're trading right here. And right now, looking to see if we get a possible kind of breakout of this downtrend here. We got this downtrend going on. We're pulling back. We're right at a pivot point. We're right there at the 15-minute kind of opening range as well. And kind of looking to see if we're going to get some support here or if we're going to keep selling down. So got to kind of wait to see how this plays out. Looking weak right now. VWAP down there at the 23s. If we break through the 40s, I'm looking to get short here. Ride this momentum down. We should at least get down to the 20s or so. Still holding up there at the 40s for now. I only need 15 points on 10 contracts. Normally, I think, risk reward wise, it's like, it's not easy. You could figure out, 2 contracts. If you're trading 2 contracts, you need what? 60 points to pass the evaluation. If you're trading 5 contracts, you need 30 points, and then 10 contracts, you only need about 15 points total. So you need $3,000 of profit. Trading with 10 contracts, you only need about 15 points to hit that $3,000 target. So right now, the NASDAQ holding right here at this pivot point. We'll see if we get this push back up. I'm going to try a long here. It's holding that pivot nicely. I think there's a good chance that we kind of rip up at least 20 points here, and I can hit my target pretty quickly. I want to make sure that if there is any type of hesitation, I jump out of it as well. So we need to go right through here at the 70s now. That's a hesitation that I don't want. Obviously, there is a trailing drawdown. So if I go up $1,000 in profit, that means my trailing drawdown is now, at like negative 1,500. So I only have $1,500 of risk now, basically, or I'm going to get stopped out and I'm going to lose the evaluation. So let's see if we can get this pushed through the 70s here. Get this done one bang. One bang, one trade. The reason I take this trade too, if you look over here on the bigger time frames, almost getting filled, trying to get that push. This could be bad though. This needs to go through here really quickly or I'm going to get stopped out because the trailing drawdown, it's got to go through 75s here to get filled. There we go. Getting filled. So that's a 50K account passed with evaluation. You had our trend line. I do have the 14 EMA on the chart. I think I talked about it a little bit in the course so far, but that was kind of my idea. Not that I'm so much I think it's going to go to the moon, but all I needed was, 15 points to get that $3,000 profit. You could play it different ways. You could play it, trade 1 contract, make $300, do that over and over 10 times, and then you can, pass the evaluation. For me, knowing that, I kind of know that I can get 15 to 20 points normally on a move, then it just kind of I'm like, well, I don't really need to hold for that 60-point move. I'd rather be in there for just that little 15-point move that I know is a lot easier to get. So you could play it with the idea of going for those big moves, or you can also just lock in profit, 5 points. If you're trading 10 contracts, just lock in profit. If you're up 5 points, lock in profit and do that 3 times. You need 15 points total, 16 points or so. So you could take those small little scalps in the evaluation, make sure you keep your trailing drawdown going, wait for that momentum, take your 5 points, wait for the next setup, do it 3 times, and you can pass the evaluation in just 1 day. So right now, again, going back, just to kind of recap here, we had the pivot point, we had the 15-minute range, we're holding up there. So that's kind of why I was looking for a reversal off of that level. Even though the trend was pointing down there on the 1-minute chart, you can see, on the 1-minute chart, it was clearly obviously pointing down, the trend there for now, but we also look at the bigger time frame. Remember, we're looking at the bigger time frame to kind of see the bigger picture. Are we at a support level? Are we at a resistance level? Should I look for an opportunity to get long on the smaller time frames? And that's what I was looking for. Look at this now, pushing back up there to the 80s. So you could have taken this with smaller size on that evaluation and still passed it, no problem. But hey, like I said, back up there in the 80s, that previous area, wick, kind of a realistic target. If I'm looking to get long here, well, there's a good chance we kind of repush up into these wicks there, hit the 80s. Look where we hit right there, the 80s now. So I guess the next question is, do we start to break to the downside here after pushing back up off of that support? If we get kind of like back below the 60s here and start to sell down one more time there, I don't know. We'll see. But again, kind of saw that reversal potential. I wouldn't want to try to get short knowing that we just bounced off that support. Only way I'm getting short now at this point is if we, I'd say get down there below the VWAP, things like that, get below this pivot point, get that move down. But in general, we're just kind of recapping, what you should be focused on with the evaluations is making sure you just take profit. That's all it really comes down to. The trailing drawdown forces you to take profit sometimes before you normally would. If the momentum is slowing and you think we're going to pull back to your entry anyway, just take the profit. You can always re-enter the trade. You got to keep that trailing drawdown in check. You don't want to be up $2,000 and then get stopped out at break even and lose the account. You need to take profit, and that's the biggest kind of secret. Wait for those areas of momentum where you think you can get a 10-point, a 15-point move pretty easily. Look for your entry. We have the momentum. We jump in for a little breakout. Boom. We lock it in, and then you pass the evaluation. You can use a trade copier as well. Sometimes if I'm trading and I'm like, hey, I'm putting on 10 contracts, maybe I'll take, half off a little bit just to lock it in. Here we go. The break to the downside now. We'll see if this is going to lose that 60 support and move down to this low again there at the 40s. Luckily, I already passed the evaluation here. But again, going back, there are no scaling rules. There's no dollar cost averaging rule. And there's no consistency rule when it comes to the evaluation with Apex. So all you need to focus on is just hitting that profit target. Hitting the profit target, and passing the account. Once you hit the profit target, you pass the account. If they have the 1-day pass deal going on, then you pass it in 1 day. If not, depends on it, whatever the deal is at the time. But as of right now, they got the 1-day pass going on. So basically, you can hit that profit target in the first day and then get into a funded account the very next day. So the trade working out here, it pushed all the way up there to the 80s, and now just kind of chop around. Like I said, I would not be looking for a short as long as we're holding there at the pivot. I wouldn't be looking for a short until we kind of really get below the VWAP, get to the downside there, and all that fun stuff. So hopefully that gives you guys just a little bit more insight into kind of what I'm looking at when I'm trading these evaluations, what I'm looking at when I'm trading in general. The bigger picture is what's important. And then we focus on the smaller picture being, these types of entries. You can see kind of the difference in the chart. If you look here, the 1-minute chart, it looks a little different than the 5-minute chart, doesn't it? It's a little different. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I don't want to get short right here because that's where we bounced at earlier. Big, huge move back up off of this level. Maybe I want to be patient. Maybe I want to wait for the right opportunities. So again, patience, waiting, everything in life, momentum, trade it, trade the trend. The trend is your friend. The evaluation, lock in profit. The trailing drawdown, it's there. Be aware of it. Lock in the profit. Other than that, there's really no rules that you have to worry about. And just hit that profit target, my friends. Lock in the profit. And again, you can just get those like 3-5 point scalps because again, there's no rule that you have to trade a certain way in the evaluation other than just hitting the profit targets. So depending on the company that you're trading with, some of them have different rules with consistency rules and things like that. But for me, I like to just kind of focus on just getting profit.